Hello, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us on a Saturday. As always, we appreciate the time that you guys take out of your day to join us. Today we have, let me start off. I'm Sarah Lawrence with the Mueller Report, and I'm here with my co-host Katrina. And we have a super awesome guest that we're really excited about today. So I'm going to turn it over to Katrina, and she will introduce our guest.
All right, thanks. So, Jamie, we're just kind of going to let some viewers drop on, and we'll kind of talk and introduce you a little bit. So, as Sarah said, my name is Katrina, and today we have my friend, Jamie Dooley. And so the way Jamie and I met was, I feel like, divine intervention, because I feel like the universe is always bringing us things at the exact moment that we need them. And it was about a year ago. I was just kind of mindlessly scrolling through Facebook, and I happened upon a group that I'm usually not very active in, and I just saw a post from this beautiful soul that I read the whole thing, and I thought, oh my God, I know so many people who need to hear from her. And I said, you need to join Trapped in a Knot. And so she did. And here she is, and she is just like taking us all by storm. She is a wonderful person, wonderful soul. She is just making waves in the dental industry, and she is helping people find their passion. And I am happy to call her a friend. Jamie Dooley is with us today, and she is the dental outreach coordinator at Ferris State University in Michigan, and a life coach and the founder of Dental Impact Foundation, correct?
Correct.
Did I get that one right? Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Jamie, for being with us.
Thank you guys very much for having me. You both look beautiful this morning. I'm so excited.
Oh, thank you. Jamie looks like she is at the beach, but she is not. She is in Michigan, where there is no beach.
And look how exciting. And your curls are so pretty. Everybody has pretty curls today, so.
We're reading that from the top up. Yeah. Well, good morning to everybody who's just joining us. Thanks for being with us this morning.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah, lots of people this morning. Everybody wants to hear from Jamie.
I know when I posted this, everybody's like, I'm not missing this. We're so excited. Yeah. We love Jamie. So, yeah, this is going to be fun.
Well, thank you for having me.
Of course.
Thank you.
So, Jamie, I know how you got into dentistry, but I'm sure a lot of other people have no idea. So I would love for you to tell us your story.
Sure. So I'll try and make it short, even though it's a bit long. Hi, guys. So I grew up in rural Upper Michigan, the Upper Peninsula. We call ourselves Upers for UP, Upper Peninsula. And then, we created our own name. So YOOPER. So anyone in the Midwest probably knows what a Uper is, but most people don't. So there wasn't a lot to do. I babysat for my neighbor's kids, 4 beautiful daughters, and he was our town dentist. And I got comfortable being around dentistry. I was actually looking at nursing or music therapy because I played the alto saxophone at the time and loved my saxophone as much as anything else. And one day I was just frustrated. Like, I don't know, I don't want people to die on my watch. And I don't really want to work, holidays and night shifts. And I was visiting with my dentist's wife, and she said, why don't you go into hygiene? And I said, why would anybody want to do that? I mean, looking back, I really was kind of floored. I had never considered it. And she said, you'd be great at it. And so I looked into it, found out in 2 years what I could make a year, and the rest is history. I went for it, and I've loved every second of it.
Great.
That's awesome.
Well, you have had lots of challenges in your dental career, but steps that have taken you to where you are, because you seemed a little, right, like you were unsatisfied. You felt like you weren't allowed to be your true self. Is that kind of what led you to what you're currently doing?
I've spent 5 years maximum in any position. That's the longest I've ever been at any job. I've never been let go because I can always tell when I'm losing my passion for the position. I like to be constantly growing and changing. And so I think hygiene fit me well because I could get a new office and a new set of patients to help get healthy, and then they would all get healthy, and then I'd go, oh, okay, I'm bored. So it took about 15 years full-time chairside for me to truly get bored. I always did something on the side, and I just felt after about 15 years like I couldn't do this forever. Terrible neck pain, wrist pain. I would have to wear an extra large glove on my right hand and a small on my left because my hand would swell up so bad. But I was a hand scaler. I graduated in '97. We didn't have ultrasonics back then. So I never got good at an ultrasonic. So my body was yelling at me for a change. I'm someone who sees myself working until I die. So I knew clinical hygiene was not something I could do forever. So that's why I started looking at other opportunities and went back to school and got my bachelor's degree.
And your biggest push was, your reason was your family, right?
Yes.
You wanted to be there more for your family?
My oldest daughter has spina bifida. And at the time when I went back to school, she was, maybe in 8th grade. And there's a lot of health, needs and issues. And it's called the snowflake condition because no two kids are alike. At one time, I wrote down all of her specialists that she sees, and there was 17. So, and not that she's seeing everybody every month, but over the course of her 18 years, she's had 17 different areas of specialties. And sometimes you need more than one in an area. So it was constant appointments running. She'd had issues where she would have to be picked up from school in the middle of the day. And you guys know your patient scheduled 6 months ago. They only see you, and if you leave for the day, you don't get your pay for that day. And it just wasn't a good fit for me being a single mother or with her special needs.
For sure.
It was hard.
Yeah, but your girls are just flourishing and beautiful, and you guys just look like the happiest family.
Well, thank you. We've had our moments.
Well, yeah.
Two daughters, they definitely have challenged me, but challenges are good because that's how we grow. We don't grow in our comfort zone. We don't grow when life is easy. We grow when life is hard. And so it's always an opportunity to look within and say, how could I improve?
Absolutely. Yeah. So, Sarah, did you have any questions for Jamie?
I wanted to kind of talk about, I know you are a life coach. So with your services, do you work with people outside of dental hygiene, or do you tend to just focus on the dental industry, or what kind of clients do you serve?
I work with anyone. I just happen to specialize in dental professionals because that's my background. So we're a unique set. We all have very similar personality types, challenges. I understand what it's like when, people can just talk candidly with me. They can use all of the words we use in dentistry, and they don't have to explain themselves. So it's been a really good fit for me to coach within dentistry. I've coached assistants, a front desk person, multiple hygienists, and even 2 dentists. So definitely it's my comfort zone.
How long have you been life coaching?
I got certified a year ago, but I actually started 10 years ago without being certified. My patients would often ask me to have coffee in between prophies because they enjoyed talking to me. And I was like, what do you mean? And they were like, well, do you ever, coach people? And I was like, to floss better? What do you mean? And so really, I had about 4 patients that pushed me to do this. And I did. I would meet them for coffee and I would coach and I would learn what they needed and how my special gifts and abilities could help them.
Well, that's pretty awesome. And were these from the same office? Or were these
different offices?
Really? Well, I think that's awesome too that you had a boss that was supportive, and some places don't want you really fraternizing with the patients outside of the office.
Guys, I hear such horror stories about bad bosses, and I have to tell you, I've had some of the most amazing employers in my career. Just truly amazing. So I've been very blessed.
That's awesome.
That is great. Do you feel like there's something that sets the dental industry apart, or do you feel like is it the monotony of everything, or do you feel like if you're in any industry long enough, everybody's going to kind of experience that same feeling of burnout, or do you feel like it happens more with certain industries?
No, I think with dentistry, what we do is so physically repetitive and so micro. It's so small, the physical part of it. And so how can you not get burnt out over time doing the same physical, small, delicate physical movements over and over and over? And plus, what we do is so intimate. And so there's that huge emotional component there where we are absorbing our patient's energy, often negative, because who wants to go to the dentist and get a root canal? So I think that dentists and assistants have it harder than hygienists from that point of view. But we do have to really take care of ourselves. Self-care is so vitally important in dentistry because we're providing and serving so many people in a day, and then working with often a large team, and you've got to go home and take care of yourself.
For sure. What are some tips that you recommend? Obviously, we should eat healthy and we should exercise. What else do you recommend that we do on a daily basis to keep our minds happy and healthy?
I think that the best way to handle it is to get to know yourself. So spending time alone, spending time to really understand your past, where your fears and blocks are, and how you can move through those. Healing, forgiving yourself is the hardest. We think we have a hard time forgiving others, but oftentimes I find with people that they tell me, I've forgiven everyone in my past and I don't know what my problem is. Well, they haven't forgiven themselves. And so sometimes that simple act plus mindfulness, because you do have to be mindful of what you're doing throughout the day and how you're viewing yourself and other people and what stories you're telling yourself. But in the moment where you're really struggling, ask yourself, do I love myself? Am I forgiving myself for my past? Because no matter what, you can't change the past. No amount of obsessing, thinking, daydreaming, analyzing, it's a waste of time.
Wine.
Yeah, exactly.
It gives us a sense of like we're feeling like we're in control, though. I think that's why I do it. Like, if I worry about something enough, I analyze something enough, I can control it. Well, you can't. And all you do is just spend, you waste your energy trying to control something that you can't.
Exactly. I've heard that people with the best life that are happiest literally wake up with zero expectations of that day. However the day goes, the day goes. If the house gets cleaned, it gets cleaned. If you have a great conversation with a friend, you do. And if you're alone, you're alone, and you just make the most out of every second as it presents itself.
Yeah. See, this is why it can be so confusing and hard to be so happy, because you have some people that, they say to just go with the flow, don't have any expectations. That's great. But then you're told you need to wake up with intention for your day. Set your intention. And I will wake up and I'll be like, I'm going to do this, and this. And then it doesn't happen. And I'm like trying to be like, but I'm just going with the flow.
It can be very confusing. And so this is what I would say to that. When you're setting an intention, you're not doing it with your mind. You're doing it with your heart. And so if you're struggling, you're probably using your mind to set the intention. So how we feel is what we draw more to us. So if you're focusing on feeling calm that day, not getting your to-do list done, because that's your head. Yeah. So you focus on feeling calm that day, and then you will draw more things into your life that help you feel calm.
That's a very good point. Yeah.
Because I think the first instinct is to always think with your head, like logic. Always, is always what we, because that's what we've been conditioned. That's what we learned in school.Use your brain, not your heart.
Yeah. And so it takes a lot of self-discovery, deep digging to really figure out who am I and what do I want? Am I living a life that someone else told me I'd be good at? Am I living a life for other people? Or am I truly doing what I enjoy? Because that's what we're called to do. Look at you guys. You're completely rocking this Molar report. I mean, you probably a year ago wouldn't have even dreamed you would do this.
I tried to stay away from video and being on camera as much as possible.
And it's so awesome. And you're bringing so many exciting interviews to people that, we would never get. Kyle Isaacs was amazing. We would never get to know these people. Sarah, you interviewed Sarah Clark. That was awesome. Mindful hygienist. And so Sarah has a lot of tips on mindfulness and for the dental professional groups that are really, struggling with stress management and self-care, go to Sarah's page, Mindful Hygienist. It's really awesome.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk a little bit more about your life coaching services. I know that you're really big and trapped in the op group. So a lot of people probably, know you from there and know a little bit about what you do. But for the people that may not know, do you want to tell us a little bit more about what your life coaching services offer and how that process works?
Sure. So I do both private coaching through the phone. I've only had, I think, 2 clients that I've done anything face-to-face with in the past year, because everybody's all over the U.S. So I do offer private coaching, but because I do work full-time, I only have so many openings a month. So it's pretty limited. But right now I do have, I think, 1 opening in March and a couple in April. And because I knew I couldn't coach too many people one-on-one, I created a self-study coaching program called 30-Day Manifesto. And that has had great success. It warms my heart. I can't believe my clients just are blowing me away with the things that they're doing and what they're finding out about themselves. So that I created for everyone. It's not just for dental professionals. It works literally for anyone in any stage of life, whether you figured out your why and your purpose, or whether you are, you're just tired of your clinical role, or your body hurts, or you just started craving something more. So it helps you figure out what you need to clear from your past, forgive yourself, figure out what you really want and what your ideal life looks like. And I have you create it within the next year. So, you try and come up with more short-term goals, and then I walk you through your wounded child, and all the fears are gonna, show up of why you can't do something. Where do I start? Who am I to do this? Monkey mind takes over, and we deal with that, and then we create an action plan. So I'm very excited. I do have it on special this month. It's 75% off, so it's under $100 to join. And there's also a closed Facebook group for support. So you get to work with other master manifestors who have written 5 or 7 ideals, what their ideal life would look like, and they all came true within 4 to 6 months for a few people.
Yeah, let's mention who are some of those people who you have helped just kill it today, because there are so many people that have just, their lives have changed since meeting you and doing 30-Day Manifesto. Well, number 1 that I can think of is Kyle Isaacs, who was our second interview. She's such a fabulous soul.
Yes, Sarah Clark is another one that, and I try to stay, I try to do private, so I don't tell who has done it.
You can't. Oh, well, but they're open about it.
There are some people that are completely, they're singing it to the rooftops because it's making the change. So, yeah, absolutely. So I'm so excited to see everybody just totally killing it. They're not afraid. They're not afraid to be seen. They're not afraid to share their gifts. And I always tell people, when you think about your ideal life, focus on who you're helping. And every time those fears show up, don't focus on what people are going to think of you. That's none of your business. What other people think of you is none of your business. Focus on who your message is meant for and who you might be able to help.
Yeah.
I like that. It's none of their business. I'm going to repeat that all day. So, Jamie, I feel like a common thing that I hear is the phrase is finding your passion. That's a big one that people like to say. And there's a lot to that, it's such a personal process and different for everybody. Do you find a lot of those people, are those people that are coming to you to find their passion, or are you kind of helping them, they've already decided and they need to know how to get there? So,
well, both. I think one of the biggest falsehoods that I hear is that you only have one passion. That's not true. So if you've already found your passion, it doesn't mean that you don't have another passion waiting to be discovered, number 1. Number 2, sometimes people are living their dreams, but they can dig a bit deeper. So maybe they've gotten to a certain level of career satisfaction and they know there's a few more levels for them to climb. And so they just need someone to hold their hand and to say, you got this. Sometimes I'm just a cheerleader. I'm just validating people for their ideas being good ideas, and I'm just cheering them on. Other times, I have to hold their hand and go backward and say, what on earth is this fear from, and how can we deal with it, hug that wounded child, and move forward.
Mm-hmm.
The word passion can be really overwhelming for some. And I think when I first started talking about my passion, I thought like, well, look at Tony Robbins. He is super passionate. I don't really like anything as much as he does. So, I mean, and I'm kind of like you, Jamie. I'm kind of like all over the board. Like, I like this. I'm really passionate about this right now, but now I'm passionate about this. And your passion can change, right? But it doesn't have to be Tony Robbins passionate.
Well, I would say I'm not passionate about anything. I enjoy things.
Okay.
Okay, so passion to me, yeah, is like somebody who's crazy, on speed. That's not me. So I just look at passion as what I enjoy, that which I enjoy. And I think it was Oprah Winfrey that said it. I've got it in 30-Day Manifesto. I can't think of the quote, but it's so simple, we make it complicated.
Mm-hmm.
You're meant to do what you enjoy. If you won the lotto and money was no issue for you, you were a billionaire, and you could not fail. You take failure out of the equation. What would you do? How would you spend your days? What would you get up and what would your day look like? That's
honestly, I've thought about that, Jamie. We've talked, and you want to know what I want to do if I won the lottery? I'm going to Fiji. Like,
that's great. That's what everybody tells me. I'm on a vacation. Well, okay, you're how old? Are you going to spend the rest of your life on the beach in Fiji?
Yes.
At some point. Okay, cool.
I'd have a tiny house in every continent.
There. I don't know. Maybe
yeah, Sarah wants to live in a tiny house.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. I want the minimalistic lifestyle.
Fantastic. But
I'm far from that, but
from the time you wake up till the time you go to bed. And at some point, we all think we're just going to leave our lives. But at some point, you're going to get bored. Mm-hmm. You're going to go, how can I be of service? How can I be of value? What can I do to help others? That is just natural human response. Mm-hmm. We all think that we would just check out. And we would for a period of time. But then what?
And I think sorry, Sarah. I think that's why so many people that retire just kind of they're so unhappy, and then they don't live a long, fulfilled life much longer after they retire unless they found something to fill their time and something that they enjoy.
Yeah. Well, we're all connected. It's easy to say that no, she's from this camp and he's from that camp, and we aren't connected in any way, but it's a falsehood. We are all connected. And so I think that most of the people that have a high level of happiness in their lives are actually helping some demographic that they're passionate about serving. And I think that's the common thread that I see over and over with my clients. They have to figure out who they want to help. And once they do, they're off.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So can we talk about how hobbies relate into everything? Because I know some of us, like me, I have a lot of hobbies, and people say, do what you love, make your hobby profitable. But what if you have so many hobbies that you don't really know? I mean, is there a place for hobbies versus your job? How is that balance?
Absolutely. Again, if you enjoy it, hey, Susan. Susan's another one of my amazing clients who is about to really blow up dentistry. I'm so excited, and I'm not going to give away any secrets. We have a call at 1:00 today, but she's the bomb. Hey, Susan.
Oh, well, good. Susan, you're going to be on the Mola Report then.
Absolutely.
Actually, in Phoenix last weekend at the Murado, and I was able to meet her, and I heard her speak, and her story is awesome. So yeah, I second that. She's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. So hobbies, that's what we were talking about, right?
Yeah.
So with your hobbies, those are things that you don't have to make money doing. If you truly enjoy them enough to not care if you're making money, that might just fall under self-care. Mm-hmm. That might be like yoga for some people, or meditation, or a hot bath. It doesn't, you don't have to turn everything into a job or a way to make money. The point is you can. And so you have to ask yourself, if you enjoy it to the point that you want to be stuck filling orders. That's when it comes to a hobby like that, especially when it comes to crafting, you can take something that you do in your free time and helps you relax, and you can turn it into stress. Yes. And that's, Katrina, what you were talking about with your intention. You've got to set that intention. What what do you do the hobby for? What is the purpose of the hobby in your life? And if you want it for relaxation, then a business is probably not going to get you that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's super valuable information.
Mm-hmm. What was the Elizabeth Gilbert book? Is it Magic Lessons?
Oh, Big Magic.
Big Magic. I love that book. I tell everybody about that book. But in the book, she says, don't turn, like kind of what Sarah was saying, don't turn what you love as your hobby into a career. Don't expect it to make money for you.
Right.
Because like she made a promise to the universe that she was going to write her whole life, but she never put the expectation that it was her love for writing was never going to, she didn't expect it to make her a living. So I think like if we put that pressure on the things that we love, then we'll no longer love it anymore. Kind of what you're saying.
Exactly. So that's one of my favorite books, and she's got an amazing podcast by the same name, Big Magic. And the whole purpose of that book is to say, it is, again, none of your business. Once you create what you're meant to create, you share your gifts and talents and passion with the world. It's none of your business what happens to it after you launch it. The Apple CEO was quoted recently as saying, shipping is better than perfection, which means if you wait till something's perfect, you'll never launch. It's self-sabotage. It's actually just fear. And so you have to, the only way that you can perfect anything or attempt to is to launch it and see where are the glitches, what's working, what's not working, and then improve it. So action is actually the key. Again, not your brain. There's only so much you can figure out in your brain. And so Liz Gilbert suggests that you just throw your creation out to the world and see what happens. And you never know what's going to stick. You got to throw multiple things against the wall before you find out what is going to stick and what people value as much as you do.
That was kind of exactly what we did with the Moeller report. Sarah and I would sit on the phone and we'd be like, oh my God, but this just isn't right. This isn't perfect. And people are going to think we're stupid. And we finally just went, you know what? We don't really know 100% what we're doing. And that's what we're going to tell people. And we have been true to that. Like,
because again, imperfection is what makes us a human, is what makes us tick. So sharing our vulnerabilities is really how we are connected and how we feel connected with others. And we only learn through trial and error. So kudos to you guys for doing that.
Thanks.
And that was something that was important, was part of our message. Like, we want others to know, like, as much as I sit here, I speak for myself, and I analyze things, and I get stuck in the research in that phase, and I'll just talk myself out of the action, the implementation part, because I enjoy the research part of it. Well, that's the easy part. It's implementation that is hard. And so we want other people to know, like, as much as we say, try to perfect things before you get it out there, like, that's not the message that we want to send, because we want other people to see what we're doing and know that it's okay to make the mistakes. Like Jamie said, like, you're vulnerable, and that makes you a little bit more relatable to people. And we want to be that a motivator for people that are scared just like we were. So
like, literally,
it really does. It makes a huge difference. I think that deep, raw, organic human connection is what everyone's craving. Even if they don't realize it, that's what we all want.
Yeah. For sure. The first time we went
Tammy.
live,
I think we lost Katrina.
Oh,
what's that?
I can still hear her and see her.
You
I
can't.
can't. That's weird.
Oh no! Did it happen again?
Are you there? Yeah, I can see her, Jamie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, let's see. See, we were talking about being real, right? And look what happened.
Yes, absolutely.
So Jamie, can you log into Facebook? Because you can see Katrina on the Moeller Report group.
Oh, it's kind of hard to do that though, because then the echo, it's a time lapse.
Okay, so let me try something. Thank you guys. Okay, Cami says, I hear you all. So I think our audience can hear and see us all.
Oh, it's just me.
No, it's okay. Let me see if I can send you the link again. I think this happened on one of our last episodes.
It happened with me and Kyle.
Yeah.
So I think the best thing to do is let Jamie log out and then try and come back.
Okay. You want to try that, Jamie?
Okay, no, it didn't work.
Okay, let me send you something else. Susan says, I can hear everyone. Let me do this real quick.
Well, Sarah, since I can't see Katrina, you can tell me if she asks me a question.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll just keep going since our audience can hear. Are you okay with that, Jamie?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So I'm going to go back down to, I had some people ask some questions. So I know that Allison had a really good question. Is that okay with you, Jamie, if we kind of do like a question session? Okay. So how would you handle people who are questioning someone who has decided to leave clinical hygiene and choosing another path that may not pay as much? I find there is a need for people to believe that you are only growing if you are moving up on the salary scale.
Well, I would say that that's their issue, not yours. That's not about you, that's about them. It's about their own fear and their own ties to money. So if you don't value money, you value other things like family, like time. I'm not sure why you're choosing or what role you're choosing to go into, but everyone has different values. So I tell my clients all the time that when someone comes to you and tells you that you are doing something you shouldn't do or that you're missing some big puzzle piece, please understand that you've got to take that with a grain of salt, because that's about them, that's not about you. When we give unsolicited advice, this is one of my favorite things to teach people, okay? Because this was me for like 2 decades of my life.
Mm-hmm.
So I used to life coach people that didn't want to be coached. When you give unsolicited advice, it's actually meant for you. You're actually meant to hear those words and take that advice yourself. And so that person really is struggling with that in their own life. And by saying it to you out loud, God's kind of giving them a chance to have an aha moment of where they need to pay attention. Mm-hmm. And it's only a deep thinker. It's only someone with a lot of self-awareness that gets this concept.
I think that's so true, because every time I find myself, for example, it happened yesterday with a friend. We were talking about writing and things. As I was typing it out, I said, I'm telling this to myself as I'm saying it. Like I'm trying to do the same thing. So here I was trying to give advice, but I was also aware that, hey, I need to take my own advice. So it's kind of cool when you can see how that works, And I do think a lot of people, like you said, equate salary with success. That's a hard one. Because that's how people look at things, is how much money can I make? That determines my success. Well, there are so many other factors in that. But
right. Abundance is not money. And so money is paper. It's created by humans. Mm-hmm. Abundance comes from God. Abundance comes from the universe and the way that we're all connected. And so if someone is striving to make more money, they're probably blocking abundance. They probably are just not as far along as you. There's a lot of ways to be taken care of. When I hit rock bottom, filed bankruptcy, my house foreclosed, truly rock bottom financially, that was the most important moment of my life, because what I found out was that I didn't feel any different. I was still the exact same person. Therefore, if money didn't define who I was or what I was meant to do, what did? Mm-hmm. And I lost all my fear, and I have been financially solid ever since. So you have to watch out for those little gifts that the universe is trying to give us.
Mm-hmm. So can we talk about contentment? I know that's a big one too, being content. And you said that usually you'd stay at a job for about 5 years and then you'd move on because you weren't challenged. Do you feel like being like my husband, for example, my husband is so content all the time, with his job, everything that he's doing. And here I am looking at him going, in a way, like I envy that. Like I wish I could be as content as him. But then in another way, it's like, gosh, that's kind of boring. Can't you like challenge yourself, So I feel like I don't know. I feel like that's another mixed message. Like, should I be content or should I continue the self-drive from within,
Well, and that's comparison. And so anytime that we're using comparison, we are, again, not going within to figure out what it is we're meant to do, what it is we want. And it is as simple as, what do I want? And the longer you spend looking outside of yourself for what you want, the longer it's going to take you to find it, because it's right here. That's the only place you're going to know what you're meant to do. Yeah. And any amount of time you spend helping others figure out what they're meant to do, you may be avoiding going within, figuring out what you're meant to do. Hey, Doug.
Yeah, that's kind of taken it for me. It's like for anybody, you know, it's easy to evaluate and criticize others because the hard part's looking within and trying to figure yourself out.
Exactly. And so again, that unsolicited advice. I mean, if someone comes to you and says, I really need your opinion, I really need your help, that's one thing. That's awesome. But if you find yourself giving a lot of advice or looking at others saying, you know, if they would only change this or that, then they would be great. That's just avoidance of dealing with your own stuff.
Yeah.
In there. I'm not joking. I'm speaking from experience.
And I think that's important. You know, it reminds me of Alfonso Jefferson. He's an awesome person. And he always tells me, like, because when I look at things, when I look at goals, I think long term. Like, and I feel like I have to stay in that choice that I make for a long time. And he just always tells me, do it. And if you don't like it, move to the next thing. Like,
exactly.
You know, he oversimplifies it, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes you're only gonna figure out what you truly want by trying a whole bunch of stuff you end up not liking, and that's okay.
Yeah.
You know, having a little bit of comfort with risk. I always tell people you want to be just outside of your comfort zone. So if you're in your comfort zone, you're not growing, you're not taking any risk, and you're probably going to be unfulfilled. Mm-hmm. But you don't want to jump with 2 feet outside of your comfort zone either, because then there's no foundation. So a foot in and a foot out is a beautiful place to be. That really is a good goal. And if you try to think too long term, that's probably also self-sabotage because you can't know the future. All you can do is know what you're going to do today.
Yeah. And I think it's important to remember, like, see, if I were to do something and not be successful, I would feel like I failed. But it's important to remember why you're doing that, because you're trying to find that guidance and you're trying to make those little mistakes so you can learn from them and decide, okay, do I need to step back in my box and redirect and go somewhere else? So it's important not to feel like that's failure, you know, if something doesn't go the way that you wanted it to.
Every mistake has an opportunity for a lesson buried within it. And as long as you find the lesson, there's no mistake. There really is no failure. It's a success. And so if we're so afraid to make mistakes that we don't take action, we're really not getting anywhere. It's important as we move forward to just kind of champion each other, to say, go for it. Why not? What's the worst that's going to happen? You might actually figure out, okay, I hate this, but then you're one step closer to figuring out what you do like. Plus with networking, you never know when you're going to meet that new person in your life that completely blows apart everything you thought you wanted. Whether it's a relationship like an intimate romantic relationship, a friend, a colleague. So sometimes you're put into a position or a job where you're actually meant to meet someone that helps you figure out that next step.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's so true. Allison says, I find that dental professionals tend to be type A and OCD and have a hard time with failure.
I'd say that's very true. I think anyone that goes into this field tends to be quite type A, and you're using the word OCD. I'd say control freak.
Yes, I would agree. So Katrina has a question. How do we handle the pressure of turning our desires into reality?
I would say the first step would be to remove the word pressure, because what we focus on is what we get. So in order to manifest anything in your life, and this is not just in our careers, this is in general, we want to focus on what we want. And so someone said to me this week in a coaching call, I just want to live a stress-free life. And I said, that's the problem. You're using the word stress in what you say you want. So you have to figure out if you actually want stress-free or do you want peaceful? Do you want calm? Do you want serene? Do you want relaxing? And for a lot of people, it's hard to take that word, pressure, stress, debt. It's hard to take those words out of what we're focusing on. But that's the secret. It really is.
So do you feel like people are scared of succeeding? You know, we talked about failure, but what do you think I've heard that before, and I'm not sure that I understand it. So maybe you could clarify that and what your opinion is on people are being scared of succeeding.
There's two camps. There's people who are afraid. I would say that they feel that they're not ready or they're not worthy. Okay, so So the people that feel that they're not ready are people like you and I that need more info. We're research people. Oh, I need to learn more. I need to get another degree. I need to do some studying on this. I need to learn how to use technology better. They'll never be ready. They're always going to feel like they need more info. And then there's the people that feel like they're not worthy. And for those people, there's usually some wounded child moment in the back. But when you move forward and you say, I'm a little bit afraid of success, if that's honestly when you get real with yourself, that's what you feel, it might be that you are going to kick yourself for all the years that you didn't do what you're thinking about doing, that you realize that you sat repetitive in a habitual kind of routine. And for some people, it's easier to just stay there, unsatisfied and unfulfilled, than it is to actually reach out of your comfort zone and move forward, because then you've maybe wasted all that time. Mm-hmm. So being seen goes back and ties into vulnerability again, where if you're seen, you're vulnerable. And so I think that if you haven't healed the past, and you think that you've got this facade or this wall around you that looks perfect, that is absolutely not true. Mm-hmm. So being seen can be scary. You have to be okay with being vulnerable. Vulnerability is beauty. It's beautiful. The most beautiful people are vulnerable.
Yeah, I think that's a good, perspective on it. And another thing that I think with success is people are scared because that requires more work. Once you're successful, people are going to be asking you to do things or, be part of things, or maybe even within, you have to kind of discover that next part of you, and that requires more work.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And so as I'm, sorry, my computer just told me it might die. So I may have
okay. Yeah, that's okay.
I thought it was charged. But with my current role in public health, grant writing and administration, I run a school-based sealant program, and I'm integrating healthcare, integrating oral health into a large healthcare system, and we're starting super small. And each step that I take is super scary because now I'm working at a university, which is a large animal. It's a large employee, group, and at a 25,000 employee healthcare group. Just navigating all the turnover, all the different opinions, it's overwhelming. And I have my moments where I feel like my head's going to burst. I had it yesterday. It was a rough day. And so you're right. The more steps you take out of your comfort zone, the more uncomfortable you're going to be. But the good thing is you get used to feeling that way, and it's not so scary anymore. You can actually tell yourself that the butterflies in your stomach are excited, not scared.
Hey, I like that. That's great. I haven't heard that before. So I know your computer's getting ready to die, so we might have to wrap this up. I do want to make sure we talk about the Dental Impact Foundation, because I don't know that we've talked about that too much just yet. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So when I started coaching, I was just coaching dental professionals at first, and my coaching business was called Dental Impact. And I have just transferred over to Jamie Dooley Coaching, so that is now my official coaching webpage, jamiedooley.com. And Dental Impact is turning into a foundation. So I will be giving grants to hygienists that are either integrating oral health into healthcare, assisting them. I have a board put together of amazing women that are so helpful. We're in process. I'm guessing it's going to be at least 6 months before we have a new website up. So dentalimpact.org is actually down, but you can connect with us on our Facebook page and keep abreast as we do different things. I'm going to have a Zoom webinar tomorrow, just a discussion, no formal presentation, just so we can continue the discussion on what's working. Susan Cotton is one of the ones that's in an FQHC. She's actually doing kind of dental triage. So there's all kinds of new exciting positions being created. And if you don't see one on Indeed, make one. Approach your local healthcare system or hospital and go to your primary care doc and say, hey, what are you doing with healthcare and how can I help?
That's awesome. Okay. So I want to make sure that we get the specials, the promo you have going on. I'm just going to read from here, make sure I don't mess it up. So you have a special for February. I know we kind of hit on that, but for the people that may not have been watching, You have 75% off, which is a great deal. As you can see, Jamie has some great tips for everybody, not just the dental professionals, but anybody that's looking for a life coach. She can help you. And then you mentioned you have a free coaching package to a new member in one of your groups. Do you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, so in the month of February, as my Valentine's Day gift to everyone, I've already given away a free copy of 30-Day Manifesto, free membership on Valentine's Day. But also anyone who joins, so any new clients, go in a drawing for a free month of coaching with me. It's a $500 value. So it's a great time because it's under $100 and you've got a chance at free coaching. So I hope to welcome a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Highly recommend it. That'd be great.
Thank you guys very much. Sorry, Katrina, that I lost you. I don't know what happened.
It's all right.
No, that's okay. She said thank you. She said highly recommended. So yeah, for sure. So thank you, Jamie, once again for taking the time out of your day to be with us. And we're going to offer some links to some products in your groups and your website that you talked about. So for people that are going to watch this as a replay later, we'll be able to have that information for them. So
well, thank you so much, you guys. You're rocking this. Thank you for bringing it into our living rooms.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jamie. And we'll talk soon.
Okay.
Enjoy your day.
You too.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.